Hi, my name is Karla Leopold, and I'd like to welcome you to my studio in beautiful Idlewild, California. I'm honored today to be a guest artist for Stencilgirl and all the wonderful people there. So this is very exciting. I am an artist, also a teacher, and an art therapist. So when I create art, it's about the journey, not necessarily about the product. So I like to do a lot of exploring, experimenting, playing, and that's what we're going to do today. So I came up with this idea, instead of doing journal pages, doing art blocks. I had my husband cut some wooden blocks with the saw, and there's nothing special about them, just a piece of wood. And with them, I've combined the wooden blocks with a very basic, simplistic process of using encaustics and using the stencils. So on each of these I've done a little bit different kind of process, and so I'm going to share how I did them with you. This is one of them. What I was thinking as I was creating these was the idea of Mother Nature and being more aware of the beauty that she has and thinking about doing a better job of taking care of her and the land and everything else that's involved with our environment. So these are basically the colored blocks, or art blocks. I think I'm calling them art blocks. I've also finished the back of these. So I'm excited that have you join me as you watch what I do, and the most exciting part is to see what you do after you watch this demonstration. And so make sure you share those with us. So I'm going to shut the camera off, and I'm going to go heat my encaustic pancake griddle, and we're going to get started. So I'll see you soon. Bye. Welcome back. This is my basic encaustic setup, pretty simplistic, and I am going to use the basic combination of beeswax and resin and pre-made encaustic media to coat each of the wooden blocks with. So let's get you over here so you can see. And I'm just going to do that very quickly. I'll just show you how I do one, and then I just coat it with a light coat of wax. I'm going to do front, back, sides. Not being terribly encaustically perfect at this, but it's just basically getting a coat down on all sides. And then I will lightly fuse it, just meaning I'm going to just take the torch and just keep the torch moving and get that wax melted on that block. Whoop. And this is a fireproof mat, cooking mat, and that's what I've used. I have lots of bubbles there, but that really doesn't matter, I don't think, or I'll fuse it again. So that's the first beginning step. So we're ready to put some encaustic paint on there. I'm going to fuse all the rest of the blocks, and then we'll get ready to go. So I went back and I scraped off some of the excess wax that were around the corners, and I made sure that the wood is covered. And that prime coat is nothing but a coat that makes everything work better and run smoother. So we're ready to go. I told you that I showed you my encaustic palette, and with that I tell my students, and it's a rule for myself, that I pick 3 colors. That way I make sure that I don't get mud. So the 3 colors that I picked for today is I picked this marine blue, I picked a Celadon green, I picked a gold, and I've also have a pearl white. And in the color palette, white isn't really considered a color, so I'm not going to consider it a color. So to begin with, I'm going to start on 3 blocks, and just got 3 colors, 3 blocks. I like things to work in 3, and I am going to cover the blocks front sides with 3 different ways of putting on the wax. They're still a little warm, so they're ready to go. I don't think too much about it. I'm going to put, if you've watched any of my other videos by now, you know I'm a pretty organic artist, worried about the process, not necessarily the product. Yeah, that looks quite nice. I think I'll, you know, I could even leave some of the natural color in here if I chose to do that. So we're just putting it on kind of haphazardly. I like that natural color in this one, so we might leave that. Let's see, what are we doing with this one? We're doing more circles. So I have the stencil ready to go. I take some wax paper over the top of it. I make sure that it's down tight. And then I take my Cellulon green and I dab it on. And I'm dabbing it to make sure that all the holes are covered here. And let's take a look and see what this looks like. Well, that's quite lovely. I want to make sure that it goes down all the way to the bottom, so I'm going to do it down there as well. And so you can see that I've got that all the way up there. So that's our first one. Let's see if you can see it. There you go. That's quite lovely. So now the second one, I'm using this stencil, and I'm going to place it so it's not in the middle of the work, but right here at the edge. And on this one I'm going to use a pigment stick. So in order to use a pigment stick, I'm going to place this, and I am going to take my tool, the sharp edge, and I'm going to go around the edges on the right side here, and I'm going to make a deep ditch with this tool on each of these, outside of each of these on this pencil. I've made ditches over here. Let's get some of that wax out of there so that pigment stick will stick in there. And when I use a pigment stick, I need to put gloves. So when doing encaustics, it's important to think about safety. I have a tub of water here, and when I fuse, I make sure there's no paper or any articles that can set on fire in the fusing area. And then the other thing is I have a fire extinguisher in the back of me. I make sure the room is well vented with fans going, and I have a cross circulation across here. It would be great if I had a fan that took the fumes out, but on a great day I can open all the windows and put the fans on, and I feel that I'm pretty safe. And also making sure that my palette isn't over 200 degrees, because then it will start to smoke and then it gets more toxic. So we've got those two ready to go. I want to come back very quickly and give you a better shot of what we did. So this is the one with the embossed stencil on there, using the different waxes, and came out quite lovely. This is the one that we did with the pan pastels and carving out it's so beautiful. I'm not sure you get to see it. And we carved out the troughs to put the pigment sticks in, and then we used the pan pastels. And then this is the one that we blew out, but I kind of went back and redid it, so that's one. This is another one that I blew out, and I used the stencil and I used a torch and I blew out the wax to go back to the color, and then I stenciled these on with one of the stencils as well. So those were the three different things you can do. I'm sure there's many more. I hope you explore and find many more and share them. And thank you today for joining me.